So we are at, where are we, Pete? It says on there, Sutton
Courtenay.
Sutton Courtenay. And we are here for a reason. First of all, we are going to do the War Memorial. And this one is unusual because at the bottom, that's the ones who've confirmed passed away. But at the bottom, we have a list of the missing, which is unusual. Let's see what this one's. Oh, served at home. That's interesting. Let's see what's on this other side. Oh, look at this one. Oh, look at this one, served overseas. The name's on here. Awesome. So we've got third. That's the fourth third. Oh, this is very unusual. This is the wounded. So we have a list of wounded. I'll get a picture of this in a minute. It's very unusual. So you've got all four sides. Amazing. Okay, so where are we going? Got to get in the church. Ah, Pete's gone that way, but it's this way we want to be, so let's go and have a look over here. This is the gate, and this is where we are today. Let's see if we can get this. Parish Church All Saints Sutton Courtenay, I think that's what Pete said. You can see it's doesn't look that big from this side, but we'll have a look when we go around. Fingers crossed. Oh, look at the beautiful trees over there. All nicely trimmed. Oh, I got a great story to tell you in a minute about this place. Let me give me a minute to find what I'm looking for, and I'm going to tell you a great story. Okay, I'm back. In the English Civil War, there was a vicar called Thomas Fitch. His name was, and he was a parliamentarist, I should say. You know what I'm like, so you have to excuse my terrible speech as usual. Anyway, so he, being the good parliamentarist he was, decided that it was a great idea to help the cause by storing ammunition and gunpowder in the church. Yes, in the actual church. So, you know this is not going to end well. One night, it exploded, the gunpowder. The church survived. The church did survive, luckily for him, but he was dismissed from the parish. Now, he wasn't too happy with this, as you can imagine, and 18 months later, I think it was about, in November 1657, he petitioned the government for permission to preach again. He stated that 18 months previously he had been ejected from his living at Sutton Courtenay by the Committee for Berkshire, but he had testimony of divine for his fit. He had basically had witnesses to say that he was fit for service, you know, because he's been a good mentalist. He'd got a few other ministers to say, yeah, you know, he's a good guy, let him carry on preaching. Anyway, so, and he went for more before this commission, and his case was that the people that testified against him, the witnesses were of no credit. Yes, so his parishioners, you know, must have really said, you know, this guy's a bit of a nutcase, he keeps gunpowder in our church. But no, he won the case. His parishioners, I don't know if it doesn't actually say if he came back to Sutton Courtenay, but I wouldn't have thought so, because I imagine they wouldn't want him back after all this big explosion and trouble being called liars and all. But it definitely said he blew up, you know, the gunpowder blew up and the church went bang. But obviously it wasn't too much damage, because it still stands for today. And you can see it from this side, it's absolutely beautiful church. Anyway, so we are here for a couple of reasons today. Now, this one over here is a rather interesting grave, and I always say every grave's got a story to tell, and this one definitely's got a tale to tell. And this is Henry Acus. I can never say his name. Can you say this gentleman's name for me, please? Herbert
Oxford, Asquith.
Asquith. Now, if nobody knows this name, but you should know his name, he was Prime Minister for Great Britain, and he was Prime Minister at the start of World War One. Unfortunately, he basically got a vote of no confidence by the end of 1916. But I mean, he was blamed for the shortage of ammunition and all the disasters that were going over on in France and all the men we were losing. But I suppose the thing was, he, like everybody else at the time, had no idea what they were getting into. This was a war they'd never fought before. This was a war of mass destruction, of weapons that, you know, you were using tanks, you were using aeroplanes and all. And this guy, he's never, you know, think in his time, and the battle had never been fought like this. So, but in 1916 he lost his position and he was replaced. But also in 1916 he lost his son. So, you know, he had a lot going on. But love him or hate him, he was Prime Minister. He did a lot of good. I mean, he is the guy who introduced the OAP pension, the over 70s at the time. He also introduced unemployment money for the unemployed, people who lost their jobs. But then a lot of people didn't like him because he vetoed the right for women to vote. So amongst the good, he was bad as well. But I mean, it's love him or hate him, here he is in Sutton Courtenay. Was it Courtenay?
Sutton Courtenay.
Sutton Courtenay. Now there is a second gentleman here we've come to find, which I will come across in a minute. Actually, I should tell you a little bit more about old Herbert over here. He was actually not known as Herbert. His second wife called him Henry, and he was known by his initials HH. His first wife died on holiday in Scotland, so his wife is actually buried in Scotland. So that was a bit of a disaster, a holiday for him. So now I am going to go off and find this second gentleman, and I'll be back with you in a couple of minutes. Okay, so we are now walking up to the second gentleman of interest, and here he is. I don't know how many people is going to know this gentleman, but this is his real name. Here lies Eric Arthur Blair, and now we should tell you what name he wrote under, which was George Orwell. And obviously he wrote 1984, which was his last book, published just before he died. And a man of great insight, because if you've read 1984, you know he basically saw the future before it happened. And behind him is his friend David. This is the reason why he's buried here. Have you found George Orwell? A couple of interesting ones over here we're going to take a look at. These old wooden ones. It's always interesting to look around. Nothing obviously left on them, but they must have been beautiful when they were first put up. It's actually pretty not well looked after. Even for one that's been left to overgrown, it's stuff that could be removed. Like these down trees bits here, they could have cleaned it up a bit. And you've got this rather overgrown bit in the middle right over here, which is quite sad. It just needs a little bit of a clean up. I mean, surely somebody could come along and clean this up, couldn't they, Pete?
Yeah, it's a bit far gone.
Yeah.
It's only 1993, that.
Yeah. And over here we have a sculpturess, if you want to call her that. It's just about here. So it's another interesting grave. And next to her is another sculpture. So these two actually need a clean as well, which is quite sad. It's one of the quite sad graveyards we've come to, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Could be looked after a little bit more better. I mean, this one obviously has been, You can see this one's recently been cleaned because of how clear the writing is on it. But if you look at the top, they've just, you know, done the main bits, but we just leave the bits around the edges. It's quite terrible, really. They do need to maintain a bit better in here, I do believe, don't you? Yeah. So look at these up here. Oh, see, look, there's quite a few over here. Tabletop ones. These are all quite old ones as well. Hey, look, all these is just, it's just all ivy over them and all, and left. It's quite sad. It's like, this is like, oh, this is like the dump heap for all the old bits of grass and all they cut off. That's quite sad. Look. Very sad. And these, beautiful in here. Beautiful in here as well, but it's just been all left to rot and ruin. And obviously there would be somebody buried under there. But that's just been left to rot and ruin as well. So, obviously this is an add-on to the church. It's a very modern building, just clipped on the end. So let's go and have a look and see if we can look in the church. Anyway, it'd be sad if it'd be another day when we can't look in, wouldn't it, Pete?
Yeah.
Let's go and have a look. We have success. Beautiful church inside. The old floor. It's one of them churches where you can actually smell the age of it when you walk in. It's absolutely amazing. Oh, look at this, what I've just found on the wall. Detail on that, it's beautiful. Let's see what we can find around here. We've got the altar. Some very old wall. Yeah, you know what I mean. Memorials on the wall. The later in the day it gets, the worse I get. Beautiful tiles. We have a monk. Oh, his nose is missing. Oh, very someone looking fella. Doesn't actually say very keen on. It's definitely a monk though. Detail on his robe and all. Oh, beautiful. Shame about his nose. I bet Pete's going to get a picture of that, he will. Times, great big camera in here.